Posted by you/throwaway987087. I'm sorry if this whole thing sounds a little rushed, but my 27F fiancé Ryan, 28M, whom I've been with for 7 years, told me today that he's not sure whether he wants to be with me anymore. I realize it may sound stupid, but I love him so much, it feels like my world is falling apart around me, and I don't know what I can do. This all started a couple of days ago when we were celebrating our anniversary. We invited a bunch of people, including one of my closest friends, Ellie. She noticed my fiancé being affectionate toward me and made some stupid comment about how she told me so that Ryan would be better for me than my ex, Andy. My fiancé was a little confused and asked Ellie what she meant. Back when I was in college, both Andy and Ryan asked me out to the same event. I'd known Ryan since high school, and we'd always had a thing, but we weren't a couple. On top of that, he went to another college that was a half-hour drive away from me. Andy went to my college, his dorm was a 5-minute walk away, and he was someone completely new. I began to feel like my relationship with Ryan wouldn't be exciting enough because we already knew almost everything about each other. With the added headache of being half an hour away from each other, I decided, despite Ellie's protests, to go with Andy. I know my reasoning is beyond stupid, but I never thought that this decision had the potential to blow up my future. Ryan was already hurt that I declined his request to go on a date. I didn't want to make him feel worse by telling him that I was going with someone else. Not that it mattered, because he stopped talking to me for about 6 months. During this time, it became obvious that Andy and I weren't right for each other, so we ended it. When Ryan and I began talking again, I realized how much I missed him and that he was perfect for me, so I asked him out. He was overjoyed, and that's how we got to this point. For the rest of the party, I could tell that his mood was off. He kept pulling away from my kisses and touches and responded to me with short, one-sentence answers. After the party, when I asked him what was wrong, he just said that he felt sick. For the next 2 days, he continued to be cold and distant. I had no idea what was happening, so I waited patiently for him to become comfortable enough to tell me. Today he told me the reason he'd been acting off. From the story, it sounded like I had kept him as my backup or plan B in case my relationship with Andy failed, and that it was especially messed up since we'd obviously had feelings for each other long before then. He also said that he deserved to be someone's first choice. I thought this was just an insecurity that we could get through, but then he went on to say that he's not sure whether he can see our relationship in the same light anymore, so it might be best if we split up. I pleaded with him that we don't need to take it that far and that we should go to counseling or even just live separately for a few days while he thinks about whether this is what he actually wants. So far, he hasn't said anything except that he absolutely refuses to go to therapy. I can tell that this is weighing on him heavily because he's been drinking more than usual, but I don't know what to say to make him feel better. We've had a beautiful relationship. He's never been overly jealous or possessive, and although neither of us is perfect, I couldn't ask for a more loving, respectful, intelligent, and charming, soon-to-be, husband. I don't understand how all of that could come to an end because of a foolish mistake I made 7 years ago. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for by posting on here, but if anyone has any advice, please let me know. Update 2 weeks later. So a few people have asked for an update. It's been a little over 2 weeks now, so I'm not sure if anyone is even interested anymore. Right now, I'm just confused about what's happening. If anyone has any advice or insight into what he might be thinking, please let me know. After what happened in the last post, he said that we should put off the wedding while we decide how to proceed. That means something, right? He used the exact words put off instead of cancel and while we decide how to proceed. I think that means he hasn't decided we should break up yet. Maybe he'll decide not to get married but to continue our relationship. I don't think he's ready to give up on our relationship yet, but he has moved into a hotel. I know some people have told me to give him space, but I've decided that if even part of him is willing to stay with me, I'm going to do everything I can to get another chance. I've been dropping off food, leaving notes under his door, and we've been calling every day, sometimes twice a day. Right now, we're both stuck in limbo. Most of the time, we talk about how much we miss each other, the plans we had, and I keep telling him that he's my soulmate and that, regardless of what happened with Andy, I know we would have ended up together. Then there are other moments when he calls in the middle of the night, having obviously been crying, and asks questions like, what did he have that I didn't? Did you love him? Was he better in bed? Was he better looking than me? Do you still think he's better looking than me? What does more exciting mean? Do you wish he gave you another chance? He says he wants to be with me desperately, but when he thinks about me, it's seared into his mind that he was always my first choice, but he'll always have been my second. It hurts him that we had feelings for each other all through high school, but the moment I met Andy, none of that meant anything anymore, which he believes means I thought Andy was worth my time and he wasn't. It breaks my heart to hear him holding back tears and trying to cry silently, but I swear I'll do anything to save our relationship, and part of that means not hiding anything from him. I begged him to reconsider going to therapy, but he absolutely will not budge. Some of our mutual friends are saying they're not sure if he'll recover from this, but I don't care. He hasn't told me to stop trying, so I'm not going to. I wish to God that I could go back and change the past because I love him more than anything, including myself. It feels like I'm in some sort of surreal nightmare. Less than a month ago, we were lying in bed, playfully arguing over who would get to name our kids, and now a seemingly insignificant mistake I made 7 years ago might wipe away the beautiful future I want with Ryan. All I can do right now is be there and hope that he can give me another chance, but I don't know what he's thinking. I know this isn't a common relationship problem, but if anyone has anything they can give me, whether it's advice or even reassurance that things are going to work out, please tell me. Edit. He called an hour ago. Some of his friends found this Reddit post and showed it to him, so he called, angry, asking why I would tell strangers about our personal problems and how he is supposed to face his friends and family now that they all know the only reason I'm with him is because Andy broke up with me. After reading the comments, he realized that it wasn't right for him to keep me in the dark for so long without making a decision. He's decided that we should go our separate ways so that I can decide whether it really is him that I want to be with and that he wasn't just the convenient choice. For now, I can't describe how I'm feeling. It's like I'm so tired I just want to go to sleep forever. I know some of you have the impression that he's a horrible man, but this was just a small fragment of our relationship and doesn't reflect who he is as an individual in the slightest. He's the guy who spent days learning about my major on top of his own studies so that he could help me study for exams and proofread my coursework. He spent thousands of his own hard-earned money to give my parents their dream vacation to Australia and insisted that I say I paid for it because they'd feel bad taking money from him. When my ex threatened to leak pictures that I'd sent him when we were together, I was terrified that he would leave. He took me out to my favorite restaurant and said that there was nothing anyone else could do or say that would ever affect how much he loves me, and then he asked me to marry him so I'd never have to worry about him leaving ever again. My fiancé is the best man that I've ever known, and the assumptions that everyone here has made from hearing about such a small part of our lives are disgusting. I didn't come here for people to convince me that he's immature, insecure, or any of that. I should have known better than to post here, but all I can hope for now is that he sees this. To my fiancé, I don't know what I can say to make this better, and I don't know if you'll be able to heal from this. What I can say is that you are wrong in thinking that I chose you out of convenience. I chose you because you're the most thoughtful, handsome, intelligent, and charming man that I've ever known. Every single moment that we've had together for the last 7 years, every kiss that we've shared, every bagel that we've split, and every I love you that I've said was meant for you and was an affirmation that you are and always will be my first choice. I don't believe that you want to cut our lives together short. I think that you were trying to heal from the consequences of a mistake that I made, and then I inadvertently set a fire underneath you by forcing you to come to a decision by making this post. Take as long as you need to do whatever it is that you need to do to heal from this, and I'll be here waiting for when you're ready to talk. If you decide that this is something that we cannot overcome, I will accept your decision, but I know we are stronger than this. I love you so much. Edit. I know this is starting to get really long, but he read my open letter and got in contact with me to say that he's not promising anything except that he'll listen. He still refuses to see a therapist because he doesn't view our relationship as strong enough to have anything worth salvaging right now. However, some people here have expressed that they wish they could give him advice directly, and I convinced him to talk to others who have experienced this and healed from it. Second update 1 month later. Before I get into the update, I want to say that I asked my ex-fiancé before posting this, and he said it's fine as long as I don't give away any details that could reveal us to more of our friends and family. I've always been the type of person who values other people's input when it comes to making big decisions, and he knows that. A lot has happened since the last update. After we spoke, he went completely quiet for around 2 weeks to have time to think. The waiting was almost unbearable, but he promised that as soon as he had an answer for me, he would contact me. I wasn't allowed to come to his hotel to drop off food, try to see him, or have any sort of contact. When he finally called, the first thing he established was that our relationship was over. However, despite our relationship ending, he still wants to be with me. If I still want to be with him, we can restart our relationship completely from the beginning with a clean slate. In his own words, while you look back at our relationship and see something wonderful, I look back at it in disgust because you lied by omission every single day. Initially, I was ready to agree on the spot, but he insisted that I take the week to decide whether I really want this. His reasoning is that if I choose to restart our relationship from the beginning now, he will be my first choice. Later in the week, it began to sink in what this would mean. I would go from fiancé back to girlfriend. I don't know when he is going to propose again, and I don't want children until we're married, so I don't know how long that's going to be. In short, it would completely throw off the life plans we had. I asked for a little more time, and he doesn't want me to resent him in the future, so he agreed to give me as much time as I needed to come to a decision. This is a better outcome than I expected and maybe better than I deserve, but I would be lying if I said that I don't wish things could go back to normal. I've decided that I'm going to agree to starting over. It just really hurts that the past 7 years don't mean anything anymore. Not long ago, we celebrated our 7th anniversary, but this time next year, we'll be celebrating our 1st anniversary again. Edit. He read the post and wanted to address some of the comments. 1. If we do restart our relationship, he won't hold anything over my head. It'll be exactly as he said, and our relationship would start over completely. He's so confident in this that he insists I leave him if he ever slips up and brings it up when we argue. 2. Some people have said that being first is just an arbitrary construct, but that doesn't mean it lacks significance. Marriage is a construct, monogamy is a construct, etc. The fact that something is a construct doesn't make it any less real or capable of inflicting pain. 3. A reminder, this isn't about me dating people before him. He doesn't care about that. He cares that I knew him for years, that we had a bond in high school, and that he waited until we were in college so we could officially be a couple, yet I chose someone else I barely knew. 4. It's come up very often that the length of our relationship should have some influence over his decisions. He says it does, because it makes things even worse. I never told him about what happened during those 6 months while we were together. On top of that, I wasn't the one to tell him in the end. We know everything about each other, so he can only assume that I consciously hid it from him. I'm not insecure, fragile, or irrational. The fact is that our old relationship is now ruined in my eyes. It's ruined because she took away my ability to make an informed decision 7 years ago. If I had known the circumstances of her return, I'm not afraid to say that I would have told her to go screw herself. Now I'm giving her the option to restart our relationship with me knowing all the facts. This time will be equals. Commenter. There is additional context that was drawn out of by the original commenters, which showed what an unreliable narrator she was and how she lied throughout the initial post. To start, she claimed in the initial post that Ryan stopped talking to her for 6 months, but later admitted that she was actually the one who ghosted him. It then came out that Andy ditched her after about a month, and she spent the rest of those 6 months chasing him and trying to get him back. Only when she realized that Andy wasn't ever coming back did she reach out to Ryan again. She clearly treated him as a backup option. She also basically admitted that she chose Andy because he was more physically attractive than Ryan. The simple fact is that she took away his agency. Had he known what she did, he never would have given her another chance. I bet anyone here criticizing her fiancé would feel similarly humiliated if they were treated like this. It also turned out that part of the reason he was angry about the Reddit post was that she included details she was still hiding from him. She just refused to be honest with him at every turn. And they did break up because she couldn't handle starting their relationship over and wanted to just pretend the whole thing never happened.